What's going on, y'all? Today I'm joined by my very good friend, Derek Detzler. Derek is a fantastic trumpet player and an even more fantastic guy. Why don't you tell the folks at home a little bit about your musical background, Derek?
Yeah, well, I've done a lot so far in my short time playing trumpet. I've been playing for about 16 years. Picked it up when most people do in fifth grade, that fourth, fifth grade area. Um, and I didn't really take it too serious until about like my freshman year of high school. That's when things really got serious between me and the trumpet. My band director, I remember, put on a recording of Wynton Marsalis's classic album, and it was the Russian Fantasy and Variation. And, he gets to that crazy variation at the end. It's kind of like the Carnival of Venice, where you have the main melody with a bunch of mordents in between. And I just remember thinking, like, there's no way that's one dude.
I felt the same way
Yeah.
the first time I heard Carnival of Venice. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, there's got to be another dude playing the in-between parts while he's playing the melody. But yeah, that was when I really realized, like, wow, I want to keep doing this, ad nauseum till I get bored of it. And then I found out a little later on that I wasn't too bad at playing high notes, and that's when I got put in some lead positions and stuff, playing rock bands. It was always something that my teachers really discouraged me trying to play high notes and lead trumpet. I'd always ask in lessons.
Jealous. They were just jealous, man.
Yeah. I'd always be asking in lessons, like, can we work on high notes today? Can we work on high notes today? And it was, pretty much the Mr. Miyagi, no, we're going to do Clark studies again. No, we're going to work on double tonguing. And then throughout high school, I was in a youth orchestra out in Elgin, the Elgin Youth Symphony Orchestra. I played with the concert band, the jazz band. I was in a ska band for a couple years in high school. Yeah, my secret shameful love of ska music. Well, shameless, I tell you.
Hey, you and me both. You and me both, brother.
Yeah, it didn't get its time in the spotlight. And then right after high school, I realized college was way too expensive. So I joined the Marine Corps.
There you go.
Because I thought, if I'm going to join the military, why not make it incredibly hard on myself? Join the hardest branch. And then after the Marine Corps, I joined NIU, school of music out here, and I'm loving it. I'm a jazz studies major.
Right on. You just got one more year to go, right?
Yeah, one full year left, hopefully.
Right on, right on. And what kind of groups are you involved with right now?
Right now, I'm playing with this amazing group out here in DeKalb called Warped Wonder, led by the fearless Chris Johnson on saxophone. And every rehearsal is a blast, and I learned so much just from playing with that group of guys. Like, everybody's got something great to contribute, something awesome to throw into the music, and it's just a blast. And then I am pretty much just freelancing with whoever will hire me.
Yeah, you just did that brass band record a couple years back, right?
Yeah, I was in the Red Shield Brass Band. It's a group of these musicians who have been playing with the Salvation Army and have been playing in brass bands since they were about 6 or 7, And I was just lucky enough to get in there. I had a cornet, had the time, and I was put on this amazing record of all this great spiritual music for brass band. And that was, and playing in a British style brass band is one of the hardest things I think I've done, because you have to be so delicate, and you're trying to match with 8 other cornets, and there's no woodwinds to take any of the hard parts, so it's all runs and arpeggios 24/7.
So that's a bad thing and also a good thing too, right?
Yeah. It was bad up front, and then it got good.
Right on.
Yeah.
So first of all, thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you.
And what are some of the most important things you learned from playing in the Marine Corps band?
Yeah, well, first things first was playing loud. That's like the number one job of a trumpeter in the Marine Corps or in any military band. You know, the first gig you get in the military is almost always a bugle gig, whether it's like a funeral playing taps or we just got through what is birthday ball season in the Marine Corps, because the Marine Corps birthday is November 10th, and that whole entire month, if you're in the band, you're running from one birthday ball ceremony to another, and each one of those birthday balls, they use the bugler to tell the time, basically. You know, you go out and you give a 30-minute call, you give a 15-minute call, and then you get your butt in the seat call. We're starting the ceremony right now. and I think that was like the hardest lesson for me to learn, was like how to play loud and accurate, you know, because I couldn't count how many times I was told by, you know, senior leadership, I don't care how you sound, I just want to hear the bugle call loud to the point where it's bursting my eardrums. You know, you're a signal at that point. You're not much of a musician. And yeah, and that was something I struggled with, but you know, it's just a lot of late nights blowing as loud and hard as you can in a practice room, and then taking a nice like 15 minutes of soft, quiet, long tone, so you don't destroy your chops.
Oh, yep,
yeah.
Yep.
And I was really fortunate to have a great teacher when I was in the School of Music for the Marine Corps out in Virginia. Sergeant Splitter was her name. And she really taught me a lot about like posture when playing, because I always was terrible about my posture. You know, I'd sit back slouched in a chair, or I'd be playing down into the ground. But I got this amazing book from her. I'll have to find it because I know you'll be interested in it, definitely. But it's all about like breathing. You know, you don't play a single note. It's all about sitting correctly in the chair, breathing, and feeling, you know, different parts of your body move as you inhale and exhale. And, you know, it gives you a chance to really be mindful about all of the mechanics that go into playing whatever instrument you have. And then we worked on breathing a lot, and, you know, because you spend maybe 3-4 months without playing a horn because you're in boot camp, and then you're in Marine combat training after that. You don't get your instrument at all for that whole time. So then you come back to the School of Music. Yeah, you come to the School of Music, and then you have to take an incoming test after maybe like a week at most of practice, you know, after those 4 months. And then, yeah, you're basically relearning everything again.
Yeah, how long did it take you to build your chops back up?
Man, it took me, the School of Music was 6 months, and it probably took me that whole time to get my endurance back to where it was when I left.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Yeah, that's the first thing to go, you know, for brass players, is your endurance, let alone your technique. But, you know, you can play for like 10 minutes at a time, and you're like, oh man, my lips are completely swollen shut.
Yeah, the horn is a cruel mistress, man.
Yeah. Yeah, you take any time it off, she will not give you any breaks. And then a big thing in the military was our 4th of July concerts and our Christmas concerts, because those were our only like sit-down shows that we did. Any other time we were marching on the field. Mm-hmm. But the big thing for those concerts was it was kind of a variety show of music. You'd have the concert band, then you'd cut off to the rock band, and then we'd get a big band set up, and then we'd have a small chamber group, a brass quintet, a woodwind quintet. And it was a sharp learning curve figuring out how to switch between those styles and not, you know, come from the concert band and get into the big band and start swinging like a brick, you know. Or sit down in a brass quintet and blast your face off playing Ewald or something, you know. So through a lot of trial and error, I slowly was learning how to kind of get myself in the mindset for whatever ensemble I needed to be in at that exact moment. And yeah, and it honestly was a lot of bugle calls in the military, so that was a good amount of my practice time. And you think, how hard can a bugle call be? But it really, the name of the game changes when you've got, generals and colonels all around you, literally staring holes in the back of your head, waiting for you to mess up.
And they know how they go too. They know how it goes.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. Those gray-haired colonels really will know if you have one missed note, and they will let you know, and they will make you do it again.
Man.
Yeah.
Brutal.
But yeah, overall, I think the military, for at least me, I wouldn't recommend it for everyone, but I think I definitely took a lot of positives out of it. I got a lot of time working with other musicians of, all different skills and all different backgrounds. We had a bunch of kids like me, fresh out of high school in the band. We had some guys with bachelor's degrees in performance. We had guys with master's degrees that made it into the Marine Corps in music. And yeah, and there was just a ton of stuff you could learn from literally anybody in that band.
Good deal. Good deal.
Yeah.
Now let's get something out of the way for all the trumpet nerds out there. The dreaded question: what equipment are you playing on right now, man?
All right, I'm gonna start it off. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna upset half of our viewers right now. It doesn't matter. No, but I'm playing on. I've got my horn right here. I'm playing on a Lawler C7 trumpet. These are some of the most fun horns to play. The one I have is kind of like very loosely modeled after like a Martin Committee.
Oh, okay.
And these are great because he doesn't make trumpets anymore, but when he did, they were like a cost-effective custom horn, basically, because you get to decide which lead pipe you want. You get to decide which bell you want. And they have, like 5 or 6 choices for each. And then you can get a detachable bell. So you can screw on different bells made out of different materials for whatever sound you wanted. And yeah, it's just this guy out in Flat Creek, Tennessee, who puts these horns together in his shop, and he's been doing it for about 30 or 40 years now. And he's making trombones right now, I think. But yeah, it's definitely my favorite horn that I've had, and I've gone on a trumpet safari like none other, trying to find the right horn. And yeah, and this is my favorite by far. And then as far as mouthpiece goes, I've had this one. This is a GR 65.6M double star. I've got no clue what the stars mean. It's basically close to a 3C mouthpiece, except a little bit shallower. And I've had that mouthpiece since about like 2012, 2013.
Okay.
And yeah, and it was just like, I ordered it pretty much sight unseen from the GR website because I really wanted to try out a GR mouthpiece. And it's just a super comfortable one that has never failed me. And most importantly, no equipment talk would be complete without talking about lead mouthpieces.
Of course. I thought you'd never get there.
Yeah, I play on a Warburton 7SV, a shallow V cup. It's about like a Bach 10.5C comparable. And I'm playing with a fairly tight backboard because Warburton is that, modular design. You can screw off whatever backboard you don't like at the moment and switch it mid-set. And that one's a lot of fun. My goal with lead mouthpieces is to make it as effortless as possible. I want something that I can really push the air through to, blare over a big band or, the brass band that I occasionally play in. But yeah, and that mouthpiece just seems to do the job so well. I think I've gotten lucky after my, mouthpiece safari, my trumpet safari, just to find something that works and to not question it.
Yeah. Some people spend their whole lives searching for the right combination. So
Yeah, yeah, and I was lucky just to spend a few years. But
there
yeah,
you go.
for a while I was a real gearhead, you know, constantly on trumpetherald.com or
Oh
on the
yeah.
Trumpet Mouthpiece Marketplace, selling mouthpieces and using that money to get a new mouthpiece in. I've tried Monets. I've tried every line of Bach mouthpieces. I've got some cool vintage mouthpieces in my collection. The Bach 7BW, which is apparently the same one Clifford Brown played on.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and but yeah, I really think I found what I like, and I've completely gone dark from the equipment world. I've tuned out all noise of new mouthpieces from every new mouthpiece maker out there. I've got what works, and I'm gonna stick with it.
Right on, right on. So for those of you that don't know, Derek is a very skilled lead player. What's your best piece of advice for an aspiring high note junkie?
First thing off the bat is safety first. Playing lead trumpet is a dangerous, very extremely dangerous road to go down. And I say it as a joke, but I know people that have like Wayne Bergeron, to name a popular one, but to where the muscles in your neck get blown out from not practicing high notes with the right ideology behind it. And there's a guy in the Marine Corps I knew as well who had that same problem. So whenever he went to play even like anything above a C in the staff, his neck would swell out and it'd be just this horrible pain that he couldn't keep playing. And eventually he had to switch jobs in the Marine Corps. And he was a much more successful Marine recon. But so safety first, definitely. You don't want any tension in your body when you're playing high notes. It all should start from the lungs, and there should just move out as if you're playing low G below the staff. The only difference is the compression inside your mouth with what you're doing with your tongue, kind of like a thumb over a garden hose, raising your tongue closer to the roof of your mouth to get that air just to naturally spin faster through the end of the horn. And really, there shouldn't be much thought, if any, into playing high notes as far as that goes. The number one word in your head should be relaxation. You really do need to stay relaxed while playing high notes. Otherwise, you'll just have a myriad of problems.
Yeah, I mean, in general, with the trumpet, tension is the enemy.
Yeah. And it's no different with high notes. I like to think of it, and when I teach my students, I always think to avoid saying, when we're talking about different octaves of notes, which C am I talking about? I avoid saying the high C, the C in the staff being the high C. I like to think of the higher the note, I like to imagine it as if it were like a candle on a shelf. You got G in the staff, the candle would be right here in front of me, a nice easy blow, and I can blow that candle out. A G above the staff is a little bit farther away. I got to blow a little farther, a little harder to get that note out. C even farther away. It's just focusing that air and blowing across the horn, through the horn, to snuff the candle out. And one method for playing high notes that really, I think, helped me after my time off the horn and once I was in training in the Marine Corps for music was the book called Playing to High C and Beyond by Rich Wetzel. I think he's got it behind a paywall now, but I remember it was on Trumpet Herald in one of the forums. He was just giving the PDF away for free, but that was like 8-9 years ago now.
The internet was a lawless wasteland at that
Yeah,
point.
dude. It was the Wild West out in Trumpet forums as far as PDFs went. But I really found out that sort of method really helped. And, nothing is better for you if you want to improve in any area than just consistently doing it every day, and as far as high notes go, trying to get farther than the last day, you know. And you're gonna have some days where you can't even hit a B flat above the staff. You know, meanwhile, the day before you hit an F above that. You know, everybody has their good days and bad days, but it's just that consistency of practicing and working towards that goal that will really unlock the upper register.
There you go. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
I gotta let you know, Derek, the people in the chat are really talking up your ability to just pop out triple C's, man.
Triple C's, yeah. Yeah,
they want one on command.
I mastered the double C back in middle school, so yeah, it's all triple C's now.
There you go. There you go. It's all gravy.
Yeah.
So do you have a favorite method book? This is probably one of my favorite questions to ask trumpet players.
Yeah, it's a good one, and it's one that I still don't have a for sure answer on, no matter how much time I spend thinking about it, because each method book just offers something that another doesn't. But I mean, if I have to go to one that I've been coming back to day in, day out, it's always the Clark Studies. You can just you can do so much with that book. You know, you can have the Clark Studies 6 different ways if you want.
Yeah, and not to mention all the etudes are great and they get slept on.
Yeah, those etudes, they're hard etudes, especially once you get into that meaty middle part of the book, like study 6 or something that nobody ever ventures past 5. But if you do, they get tough. Well, yeah, and the Clark is used in so many different teaching methods, like with the Claude Gordon exercises and his whole systematic approach. I studied that for a while, and it was always supplementing with the Clark studies. You know, you would do exercise 1 in its entirety as written, and then the next week you would do exercise 2 as written, and then you do exercise 1 single tonguing. And then, you know, as you progress through the weeks, you're always doing the next exercise as written, following all the other exercises with forms of single and triple tonguing. And at a point, it does become totally unmanageable. You're spending like 3 hours just on your systematic approach and all those extras. But yeah, the Clark book's got it all for you. And then you can take, I totally stole this from Stuart Mack. I saw on his Instagram, he was doing it a few years ago, and I started doing it with Clark 2. You can do, and all the other Clarks, you can do them in minor keys, you can do them whole tone, you can do augmented, you can do whatever you want with them in any sort of mode or key. So yes.
Yeah, I think I remember the Instagram post you're talking about, dude.
Yeah.
Shout out to Stuart Mack for that one. That dude is crazy.
And he's just ripping through all of them, effortlessly changing keys and modes as if it didn't phase him at all.
Yeah, that dude is a practice freak, man.
Yeah. And the Clark's book is just, I've got it here next to me. It's just one of those beautiful, perfect books that really lets you run free with it. If it's as far as your imagination can take you.
Absolutely.
What about you? What's one of your favorite method books?
I think my favorite is probably the Clark as well, followed closely by the Irons.
Oh, yeah.
I really love that book because, kind of like what you were talking about earlier with the garden hose example, that really clicked for me when I started studying out of the Irons book. Just the slow and deliberate lip slurs and the motions of the tongue, and they shouldn't even be called lip slurs.
Yeah, they're tongue level exercises. Let's get that straight here right now.
Tongue level exercises. Lip slurs, that's misleading.
Yeah, and that's what I tell every single one of my students.
Absolutely.
I'm like, get that out of your vocabulary. Yeah, and the Irons is another thing that's used as supplemental studies in the Claude Gordon approach. They love using that Irons book. Yeah, and it's just that, back to basics. You strip it down to its bare bones, and you can really focus in on what muscles are moving. Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah, and speaking of using examples from a lot of different method books. Let's talk about Bill Adams.
Yeah, Bill Adam, the man. I think one of the greatest things, like even greatest things that he's done, disregarding like all he had on his pedagogical side, is he created this like amazing community of trumpet players and this sense of like inclusivity. You know, you're not fighting against. I'm butchering a Bill Adam quote, but you're not fighting against other trumpet players. You're fighting against yourself. You know, you're trying to improve against yourself, and that's the only person you should really measure against.
Yeah, and just trying to improve a little bit every day, because every day is another chance to improve.
Yeah.
I love it.
And then what was that great quote? You can put it off to tomorrow, but you can't get another today.
Yeah, you can always put on another day of practice, but you can't get back.
Yeah. And and that's just one of those phrases that just clicks with you immediately, and you're guilt-ridden with not practicing the day before because it's gone.
Yeah, it's a world of regrets, man.
Yeah.
And what's up, Isaac? Isaac's in the chat right now.
Hey, glad you could stop by, Isaac. Thanks, man.
And I think for me, the whole Bill Adams approach to trumpet, it's not even just about trumpet. It's about life, and it's just about trying your best and believing in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you believe you're going to be successful, you will be. Maybe not in a day, maybe not in a week, maybe not in a month, but you will. You can achieve whatever you've set your mind to it.
Yeah.
I know it sounds corny, but...
No, dude, and it's the old adage, you know, where the head goes, the butt will follow. You know, if you're constantly down in the dumps about yourself, or, you know, and this even happened to me while I was at NIU. I was just really struggling with improvisation, and I was like, maybe I'm just not meant to be a jazz player. Maybe I'm not meant to be a great improviser. But, you know, that's just all these weird opinions that you get in your head, you know, and it's really just saying, no, I can be great. I just need to put in the work and keep trucking through. And then, things just start going right once you give yourself a chance and bet on yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's all about taking calculated risks.
Now, what are your thoughts on the Bill Adams routine?
I think the routine as it stands, like right now, as that PDF that everybody's got, I'm sure, which I, more recently learned was different from how Bill Adam prescribed his method and taught. You know, it seemed like it was always from him a very specific method for each student that he had, which is really interesting. But as far as it stands right now, I think it's a great source for working up your endurance and kind of taking the extremes of the register, be it the top and the bottom, and really give it that common starting point of, let's start right in the center of your horn at, G or F sharp in the staff, and then we're going to work both ways at once, expanding everything.
Yep, I love that, the spider web of chromatics, the G, F sharp, G sharp, F, A. It just makes sense to do it that way rather than starting from low and going to high, or starting high and going to low. Middle, expand.
Yeah, and it's all about being relaxed, starting in that center area of the horn that everybody is comfortable in.
Yeah, being relaxed and clearing your mind, centering your focus on the sound.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's, we both have studied with Frez Whitted, a student of Bill Adam, and that's always the number one thing he's always saying in at least my lessons is focus on the sound. Don't worry about the notes. Like, same here. He'd always talk about how he could care less if you biff a note or you mess up a fingering in the chromatic exercise. Is your sound still there afterwards?
Yeah, sound and the air quality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
With
I'm
chest.
very.
Chest up.
I am so grateful for the opportunity to study with him because him introducing me to all these concepts and things really just changed my whole outlook on playing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it's the best thing about the Bill Adam routine is studying with, that uh, first generation or second generation student of Bill Adam, because they've got it fully ingrained in their head how they're going to lead you to the right answer without ever saying a word. Like, I'm sure it happened with a lot of your lessons too, but Frez and I would hardly talk when we'd play or do the routine. We just work right through it, and it would be, you go first, and then he goes first, then you follow, and sometimes he would stick with the same exercise and stick on the same, starting note, because there was something there that he wanted you to catch that you didn't quite catch that first time, or it was something in the way you played it wasn't quite right, and he's showing you with the horn how to do it right.
Yeah, absolutely. And that goes back to just hearing the sound and just the idea of, imitating good sound.
Yeah. Yeah, and what better sound than Frez's to have stuck in your head the rest of the day?
Absolutely. And I always loved after those lessons, he always got me fired up, and I was always ready to just keep practicing more and more.
I know, yeah. Yeah, you walk out of those lessons and you're like, wow, I need to run to a practice room before I forget all of this.
Yeah, it didn't matter how bummed or down or tired I was feeling going in. I'd go in, he'd say something goofy, and we'd get to playing, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and that seems to be one of the also other non-trumpet related positives from studying with Bill Adams' student is that sense of joy and a light and uplifted feeling leaving your lesson, like coming out of that lesson and saying, wow, I can do this, I will be a successful musician after all. And I think that was something that I'd always get from lessons with Art Davis too. I'd always just walk out feeling better about myself and the music industry as a whole.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Art was our therapist for a while.
Yeah, yeah, he was.
He's just very understanding individual.
Yeah.
So much knowledge, man.
Yeah, so much compassion. And that's just the basic bare bones of being a good teacher or mentor, is that understanding and compassion that everybody needs to hear, that they're doing a good job, and that you just got to keep up the work. It's right around the corner.
Well, that's part of the success from the Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell, right?
Yeah.
Is being kind to others.
Yeah, and in turn, it's crazy. You start showing compassion towards others. You start showing understanding. You start thinking things from other people's point of view, and suddenly you'll see yourself being more compassionate towards yourself and understanding that your mistakes are not you, that your mistakes are just things that have happened in the past, and that dwelling on them is just going to make you worse for wear.
Yeah, and I highly recommend to anyone who has not read it, Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell.
Yeah. I've got a whole bunch of props with me.
That book, man, that book is like meat and potatoes right there.
Yeah.
That's got everything you need to instill success into your own mind.
Yeah, talk about chicken noodle soup for the soul, man. This book is it.
Yeah, and that's also a part of the Bill Adams method and philosophy.
Yeah, and it was one of those things for us.
Inner game of tennis.
Yeah. And the zen and the art of, what have you, motorcycle repair or archery or whatever they make it on next. But it was one of those things, yeah, Frez, right out of the gate in our first lessons was like, get this book, Maxwell Maltz, Psycho-Cybernetics, and start reading it. And, I went on Amazon and I ordered a copy, and it came in the mail, and I was like, self-help book? Really? I was like, did I really give off that strong a vibe of like
I was very skeptical at first, not gonna lie.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
But I'm thankful.
yeah, and it definitely took me way too long to get started in it. But once I did, yeah, it's just full of those, oh my God, this book is describing me exactly. Like, there's an excerpt in the book about putting your happiness on a deferred payment plan. You know, because so many people do that. They're like, if I can just get X, I'll be happy. If I can just move into a house, I'll be happy. If I can just graduate, I'll be happy. You know, you're putting that happiness off until God knows when. You know, why not just be happy now? Why not just enjoy what you're doing right in this moment?
Be content.
Yeah.
Be thankful.
Yeah, and it was just one of those things. My face turned red as soon as I started reading it. I was like, God, this, 50-year-old book totally read me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we wrap things up here, how can people get a hold of you for lessons in freelance recording?
Yeah, well, I've got a few artist pages out. I've got this one on Instagram, Derek Detzler Music. I've got a Facebook musician page that I honestly haven't been on very much. I've been taking a lot of time off Facebook just over this summer and stuff, really focusing on just working through Trumpet, making sure that my personal practice is the first thing that I really take care of. But yeah, so I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram at Derek Detzler Music right here. I've got a Twitter as well, and I'm always available by email. It's ddetzler14@gmail.com, and that's on all my socials too. And that's really the best way to get in contact with me, through email. And I'm accepting students right now through my own personal studio. And if anybody here is listening near the Elgin, Illinois area, I also teach out of Mecca Music. And they're a great company that...
Yeah, shout out. Great shop. Great shop.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much all the places you can reach me.
Right on. Well, this was really fun. We should do this again sometime.
Absolutely.
And look forward to practicing with you real soon.
Yeah, we'll be doing the routine. Don't you worry.
Right on, right on. All right. You have a nice night, man.
Awesome, yeah. And thank you for having me on this show. It was a ton of fun. I don't always get to talk music right now, Paige gets, my girlfriend and roommate, can only stand so much pontificating about Brad Mehldau. So she just has to go, please stop, I don't understand.
Shoot, you got my number, man. Give me a call.
Yeah.
I'll answer.
You got it, man. All right, thanks again.
All right, peace out. Toot toot.
Toot toot.